right. The Sonny situation. So what happened is all right, so just to catch everyone up, there was money that was in an envelope, a small cash envelope, like a bank envelope. It was several $100s. It was literally just, I don't know, $600-700. Could have been as much as $900 or as little as $300. I can't remember what was in it. It was set down, and unfortunately, it left. And I didn't leave it. And my son, who I'd never thought about as a suspect, nay, sunspect, was hanging around the money, just sort of sitting there. And then one of Dr. Drew's guests. And unfortunately, and look, Dr. Drew has a lot of, people that have been through the 12 steps and a lot of survivors of breast cancer and incest and mommies who wrote books and stuff. This one just happened to be a guy who was bipolar and sort of seemed like kind of guy that if he was walking down one street, you might cross the other side just because movements were a little weird. Weird. It was just the timing.
Jerky and as if they might grab a envelope full of cash.
The timing was bad, and that A, he sat down where I was sitting counting my money, and then B, later on, you guys didn't see this part, he sat in this entry hall here that separates the studio from the entryway, and he sat long ways, and he put his legs all the way across on the floor so that you would almost have to step over him to get, even though there's a whole sofa at his butt's beck and call, he just went and sat down against the bathroom wall with his back against the bathroom wall on the floor. I didn't come in and say, excuse me, I was sitting there or anything like that. He chose.
Ironically, the way a 6-year-old would sit.
Also, a little bit weird that he was sitting in my place and then decided to move on to the floor. But anyway, the guy seems harmless, but unfortunately seems to have a little past of larceny. It's just
a forgery.
It's making things very confusing for a person like me. You would have to understand that as trustworthy and trusting as I am, the guy I never met before with the emotional psychological disorder who sat on the floor and then sat where I was sitting and then sat by my money, who's since tweeted us saying he has nothing to do with this, which I already knew because I asked him when he was here before I left. At least he's consistent. Has nothing to do with his money leaving. I don't know what he would say.
So for people who didn't listen yesterday or today, you thought he was the one you suspected perhaps he took the money until you were reminded that Sonny was here at the same time.
Right.
Sonny, your son.
Then we got Sonny on the phone, and then Sonny cried, and then Sonny, what apparently was very compelling pod. Everyone seemed to enjoy it very much. And then when I got home last night, I did the one knee move.
That's when you get to his level to really talk to him.
Yeah, helmet's not a chair. I grabbed my own knee. I grabbed a knee, and I did the eyeball to eyeball.
We want a seal here and a seal here.
That's right. And I said, Sonny, did you take Daddy's money? Did you take that envelope? Daddy will understand if you tell him the truth, but if you don't tell Daddy the truth, he's going to be very upset if he finds out. You're going to be in a lot of trouble. And he looked me in the eye, and he said, I did not do that. I learned my lesson the first time, Daddy. And we hugged it out, and we went to bed. Everything seemed to be hunky-dory. The following day, this morning, kids were in the den doing God knows what, burning kilowatts, because that's what they do. I was heading out the door, and I pulled Lynette aside, and I said, we got to search. We got to search the underpants drawer. We got to search. I did that thing that Tommy Lee Jones did.
I want you to go in every outhouse, doghouse.
That's right. Hard target search. Yeah. And I
50
did
50 meters in every direction.
That's right. I did the thing. Helicopters overhead, dogs barking in the background. And I said, we got to search. And she's like, you're an animal.
Because she believes he's innocent.
Your son.
She knows he's innocent.
Your son looked you in the eye. And by the way, she did the thing where she went, me, Olga, and Jody all know. And I was like, I said, listen to me. She said, your son looked you in the eye, and your son said that he did not steal that money. Now, that should be good enough for you, and you're not tuned in enough to your own son to look, because I saw him, and I'm tuned in enough to know there's no way he would do that. He would not look you in the eye. And I said, I agree. I don't think he did it. I'm 90-something% sure. But you understand, I've essentially accused someone else of doing it. And so I need to know positively. I need to be able to say, I searched the house.
And what harm could it do to look for it?
Well, the harm is that we broke the trust, the bond, the sacred bond of the kid who tried to steal $40 from me 9 months earlier in the year.
He was keeping it safe, Adam.
I told him, and I want everyone to know this. And this is a micro and a macro issue we're all having trouble with in society. Sonny, the whole reason Daddy thinks you may have stolen it now is because a few months back, we opened your backpack and there's $40 of Daddy's cash in your backpack. That's what gets you onto the list.
Right.
If you don't,
he has priors.
Yes. If you don't do that, third strike, by the way, you're out the house. If you don't do that, then you won't be on the list, but you're now on the list because of your prior behavior. So understand your prior behavior does affect the present and the future. So Lynette gave me the sort of, you sicken me kind of thing. And I was like, first off, I didn't even think of my son as a suspect. I really did not think of my son as a suspect. I like it, by the way, when you seek counsel from people like Mike August, and he's like, Mike's like, it's great talking to Mike because he's like, there's no way Sonny did it. He didn't do it. And I go, all right, well, so was I wrong? Oh, no, you absolutely check. You look in the underpants drawer, look in the backpack, look everywhere. And I said, well, you should look, but he didn't do it. And he said, well, no, you don't tell Lynette. You search. Here's your big mistake. Next time, you look. And I said,
the man's all heart.
No, but he's a pragmatic guy.
Yeah.
And he's right. Next time, I should have just kept my mouth shut and look. But anyway, I don't want to run the house that way. I said, look.
You don't want to run the house that way, or you don't want to search the house?
I don't feel like going through underoos.
Yeah.
Unless I'm feeling sexy. So I said, I don't think he did it, but think is the operative word here. I need to conduct this in a sort of 100% absolute way. If there's a 2% chance that he did it, even if it's 2%, I can't point my finger at somebody else. If there's a 2% chance that my son may have done it, and I need to search to make sure he didn't. I go through the airport. I have to take my belt off. They know I'm not a terrorist. It's just part of the protocol. It's just what it is.
You should say it's for his own good. Just like when you have to show your license when you're paying with a credit card, and they say it's to protect you.
Right. Well, I didn't really pull it off. She didn't like the bond breaking part. I was like, I'm not breaking the bond, but he has stolen before. He has lied about it before, and he was standing there admiring the pile of money that was on the table, and he knew some specifics about it, and I'm accusing a total stranger of doing it now, which I don't like.
Was breaking the bond accusing him of it, or is searching breaking the bond?
Well, the accusing of it can't be pinned on me because I forgot about it and Gary brought it up. So I'm off. Even though I'm being accused of accusing him of it, I never brought it up. Mm-hmm. So I can't be accused. Well, I can be because there's no rules in this courthouse.
Right.
But I had to explain over and over again. I wasn't the one that even brought it up. I saw him sitting there the whole time. We got in the car and we left. He was never a suspect in my mind. Mm-hmm. I should have strip searched a little shit right there, but I didn't because I'm a good dad. Understand? Maybe even great. But no, we got down. I took a knee. I looked him eye to eye. He said he didn't do it. And the following morning, I said, we still need to look in his backpack and his underoos drawer to make sure. That's what broke the bond for Lynette. Now, and you guys tell me what you would do. I feel like
I would look. I feel like it's a violation of privacy if the child is of a certain age, and I don't know what that age is, but at 6,
yes,
you normally go through their things anyway.
Right.
So therefore, I personally don't think that is breaking the bond to look. I just wouldn't let him know that you still don't believe him.
Right.
You're doing the right thing by looking through his stuff. The horse got out of the barn. I don't have kids, so call me an idiot and say I'm wrong. But I think the horse got out of the barn when Lynette said, Sonny, you didn't take it, did you? And he was like, no. I was like, okay, I believe you. Wow.
I know.
A 6-year-old will tell you anything.
But he had real tears.
Of course, he was afraid.
I know.
Terrified.
But I tell people.
He was caught.
I tell people the fucking wording all the time with people. Like, I would stand next to my assistant and, he'd go, you guys don't deliver, do you? And I go, say I need that delivered.
Yeah.
When you say you don't accept returns, do you? Or you just give credit for returns, you don't return cash, right? Like, don't say it that way. You're giving them
You don't like blowjobs, do you? That's what I do.
You're giving them an out. You're giving them an out. So you cannot say you didn't steal that, did you? just have to go, by the way, what you do have to do is you have to go, Daddy knows you stole the $100. He wants it back now. That you go further with it.
Mm-hmm.
That gets them to crack, saying it in, and I didn't remember that's how she said it, but it now
was to that effect.
But that was, I think, after you had
Right.
said to him,
okay.
I want the money back.
Now, the good news is, like I said, he's going to have to launder that stuff with Curious George jammies and Ninjagos and, Legos and stuff like that. Like, I don't know how he's going to launder that money. That's $100. God knows he's just going to hand it to the Armenian ice cream man and tell him to keep the change next time he gets a bomb pop. But now the plot thickens a little because that was on a Friday, and on a Saturday they went to like Target or something, and
Dun, dun, dun.
Natalia evidently had some money that she'd saved up from the Tooth Fairy.
Oh.
And he had no money. He was saying to Olga, he didn't have money. I feel like he would have found that $100
He's
when he
punching
got
himself in the
when he
teeth.
got to Target that day. So
Yeah.
now
Yeah, he's not maniacal enough to pretend to not have the money if he had it.
Right. So I don't think that he stole it. I do still think as a parent it's the right thing to do to check, especially when you're accusing another adult of possibly doing this. And there's nothing to pursue. Either the guy stole it or the guy didn't. It seems likely that he did, but I can't prove it. And
Now, what do you make of him reaching out to say he didn't do it, though? If he had, is that something he would do?
Well, if he had, he would have said that he didn't do it already when I was in the room with him.
Which is what he did.
Which is what he did. So it would have been consistent. We got the tweet that somebody emailed us from a fan site or something. So, and look, first off, it could have been any one of the flunkies working here. And it could have been the
Or
win.
all of them.
Or all of them. They could all whacked it up 7 different ways. But it also could have been, look, a fucking crow could have taken it away. I don't know. It seems unfortunate that a guy, and I don't know if he had criminal history or not. I just know that there was something about forging, some art forgery or something on the internet. That's according to Gary. I don't know. Gary, do you get into the mic? Do you know what the full story is?
Gary has
According
a lot
to
of
his
that.
own book, he was convicted of fraud as a result of high-end art forgery. So
Okay.
He self-admitted.
All right, so let me say this. There are people that are capable of doing certain things, and then there are people that are incapable of doing certain things. I don't steal. I'm capable of doing other things. You could accuse me of tuning you out, and in which case you'd go, oh, that's Adam. But if you said, I'm missing one of my candlesticks, you wouldn't go, that's Adam, because Adam never steals anything from anybody. So he's at least proven himself
Yes.
to be capable of doing this. Yes, that much we can agree. And
And you got a weird. Well, see, I don't mean to accuse him. However, you got a weird vibe from him, right?
no, he's a weird person. He has bipolar disorder. He has a disorder. He came in. Look, even I would have to think twice about not stealing this money. It would have been several $100s in an envelope the size of a $100 bill sitting in front of you on a table with no wallet, no ID, nothing to get rid of, nothing to do but slide it into your sock and pull your pant leg over it. That was about as far as you had to go with it. I mean, that is literally cash sitting on a table in front of you. The only reason some people wouldn't have stolen that money is because they think it was a setup, like someone would pull some fishing string and it would go sliding across the table, and Alan Funt Jr. would come popping out if he's still in fact alive.
Oh, not to entrap them, but to humiliate them.
Yeah,
Make a
right.
bit out of it.
Right. So that for a person that may have a disorder or two and has performed feats of larceny before, that would be a pretty low hanging fruit. On the other hand, it's not a it's not a foregone conclusion that he did it. It is not. It's just I have no idea where the money went.
Right.
And
for him to have done it, that means he would have had to steal it and then still be here for a while afterwards, and he would have had to be comfortable with that.
Yeah. Well, part of having a disorder, sometimes it's your worst enemy, sometimes your best friend. Yeah. And also, look, as I said, you put it in your sock, you pull your pant leg down over your sock. Now we're getting to the point where someone has to say, take your pants off, take shoes off, take socks off. I mean, that's what we're getting to. I can say, do you have it? Is it in front of you? Can I check your pockets? But there's a certain point, if you just slide it down the crack of your ass, where I'm literally going to have to ask you to go into the bathroom and disrobe. That's Drew's guess during a show. It's going to be a tough putt, as they say in the business. And people say, well, why now? Well, the window was 10 minutes. Would have had to do it then. Don't know if he did it or not. We'll never do it. Drew will defend him to the end. Drew should pay me. I've just figured this out. But the actual tweet says what, by the way? It was too small on my screen for me to read, Gary.
So somebody tweeted at him, an ACS fan, that asked, you didn't take the envelope with the money, did you, with the hashtag ACS? And then he emailed me and said, to answer his question, I have no idea what happened to the envelope with the money.
Okay. Well, there's really nothing to, there's nothing to do but believe him. Because there's no recourse. I mean, unless you want to start getting into lie detector tests and things like that, which is fun.
I was going to say, yeah. I would definitely be interested in that, in hearing it.
That's a solid radio bit, peeps.
When we were doing my morning show back in the day, when we were on KLSX out here in Los Angeles doing the morning show, Jack Silver had a couple of great plans to really boost the image of the show. One is he would have Frosty, Heidi, and Frank, the show that came on after our show, make fun of our show for the first 10 minutes of their show every time.
Great.
It was a real morale booster for our show.
Well, the headliner always makes fun of the opening act, man.
Yeah, that was good. Then he had, was it Mark Chambers? I'm trying to think who Death Dog was, we'll figure it out. He had the guy who was in charge of the website. And the blog or whatever, constantly talking about what a piece of shit our show was under a pseudonym.
He had someone on the inside trolling?
The person that was in charge of KLSX's website would go on to the blogs.
Yeah.
And you'll correct me, Brian, when I screw this up, and talk about what a piece of shit our show was. Unfortunately, he got way too specific, like Mike Lynch was a shitty writer. Like, you wouldn't have known Mike Lynch wrote a bit if you weren't physically in the building.
Yeah.
And the way he was caught, or what drew our attention to him, is he had so many misspellings in his critiques of our show, and as the webmaster, had a whole bunch of misspellings as well. So, a bunch of typos as well. So, ironically, him being really shitty at his job brought us to our attention, and then we brought him in, and we brought the no-lie MRI guy in with us to bust him on the air, and he just cracked immediately. By the way, Jack Silver, never fired him. Now, what was Death Dog's name?
Bygones are...
I think his last name was Sullivan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So it was Jack Sullivan.
Yeah.
And it was not Mark Chambers, who's a good guy.
Why did he
Mark
think
Chambers
it was
is
a
a good
good
guy.
idea to have someone saying shitty things about you guys online?
Why did Jack
Yeah.
do that?
If I can.
Jack's an idiot, yes.
Well, you're right about that.
Right.
I think Death Dog, under the name Death Dog, went onto our message boards, started posting weird inside stuff like, this show needs to be gutted, and Mike Lynch is a terrible writer, and why are they doing this? And then when he was sort of found out, it was like, I was just going on there to stir up conversation. It's like, it's a fairly specious argument.
Yeah.
But then Jack was like, he knows his stuff. I'll just move to a different department.
Yeah.
Like, that was his thing. He shuffled him.
Jack, well, I don't know that Jack was behind it. Radio guys are idiots. Jack wanted his guys to do the morning show. His guys didn't get a chance to do the morning show. I did the morning show. He was pissed off about it, so he took his guys and tried to sort of tear apart our morning show, which makes perfect sense.
I only wish I'd gotten a chance to meet him.
It was excellent.
He also masterminded the deleting of all of my drops. Remember that?
Sure.
I had a huge collection of drops from like a year and a half, and they were disappeared one day.
Radio people are horrific, and the good news is they're all trying to do a podcast right now. So Enjoy your newfound success, everybody. All right. Titus is coming in here soon. I don't know if he's in the building yet. He is here. So anyway, now here's the second and third question. Do I conduct my Sonny search, or are we just moving on?
You conduct the search because I got to know. Do it for me.
All right. It's going to disrupt my family life. You understand?
There's no way you can surreptitiously do it.
Don't talk about it on your podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I was just kidding.
Aside from that.
No, I'll find out because he'll have to launder the money at some point. There's $100 bills. Yes.
Did he, when he took the initial $40, did he lie to you about that first? Was that his first reaction?
Yes.
Then you have to search.
Well, he lied in that we found the $40 in his backpack.
Okay. Then you have to search.
And
now
by
he's
the
got a
way,
track record.
it was probably $60. Just Lynette and Olga wet their beak, a little finder's fee.
Finders.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They took the 20 and whacked it up. Yeah.
He did.
And he said he was trying to keep it safe.
He did.
Could be the same thing, but he knows the stakes are a lot higher this time. He needs to keep it real safe.
See, I'm leaning towards his innocence, although I am a very gullible person.
Mm-hmm.
But he did definitely perk up when you said there was a reward, and he wanted to know how much was it.
Oh, really?
Remember that?
You had him dead to rights over the $40, and he lied to your face. And now you're like, oh, I looked in his eyes. It's all good.
I didn't say that.
Jesus Christ.
Listen, I get
there before the money ends up in the trash.
You don't. Look,
Who would
you don't
he don't think
understand.
he would
I
throw
get
it out.
accused all day long of not being connected. Your kids. You got to know when you look into the eye. And by the way, I do, but that covers 96%. There's fucking 4% that looking in the eye doesn't cover for me, and I don't know who it covers for. I don't know. Maybe the kid's a sociopath. I hope so. He'll go much further in life.
What are you talking about?
All right, listen.
Do you think Natalia has any intel on
He's the
Sonny?
mastermind.
But I just think that she might know what Sonny's up to.
I'll sweat her too. Yeah, she'll come walking in. She'll see me waterboarding her American Girl doll. She'll yell, "Daddy, no!" I'll say, "Olga, get the bucket. Now start singing, Stooley, or whatever we call him, pigeon, parrot, canary." So sing like a canary. I miss old time prison. You know what the problem with prison is? We don't have enough white people in prison anymore.
And how?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Back, there was old time white person slang for prison.
The clank.
Yeah, it's like I'll be singing. Yeah, there's a
the
lot of dropping dimes, a lot of good gangster. Like there was a white gangster talk. Now it's just like I'll fucking kill you.
I know.
It's no fun.
That's the poetry.
I saw
Glamorous.
Shawshank. All they ever wanted was soap and rock hammers.
Right.
That's all they ever smuggled in.
Yeah.
And posters.
Yeah.